Hello, Rockill here, welcome back to another video of Heroes and Generals. I am back to this game. Yes, somebody requested a video type and it's a great idea, but I think I already did it before and they say that it's basically because it's outdated, the view that's up right now. It's really outdated, so here I am saving Heroes and Generals by making this video. I'm not, it's basically the same, but it's gonna be recent. So let me talk what I'm gonna talk about. English. RPGs, right? Anti-tanking. Everybody knows it, everybody hates it, everybody loves it somehow. But yeah, I hate anti-tanking. But some people have to because they want to unlock everything, like me. I can say I'm not 100% sure, so don't take anything 100% clarity, but I'm gonna try to explain it as best as I can. As you know, RPGs, anti-tank grenades and stuff like that. First of all, if you wanna do that, let me just go to a normal infantry. Let's start with Germany. Why not? Why? Because I have RPGs there, every RPG there. So, you know, you love it, you hate it, this RPG. There are multiple RPGs. Let's with Germany and anti-tank grenades. So, if you wanna be the best anti-tanker, probably Germany is the way. So, as you know, Germany has multiple things for anti-tank. First of all, let's just go to the ribbon. Tank Destroyer, as you can see, there's a lot of weapons in this banner, but just remember, don't buy other faction weapons. If you want to know which one is other faction weapons, is basically it shows you the icon. If it's your weapon, it's not gonna show the icon. Let's go for the... No, actually it does show the icon. They changed that. Sorry, my bad. So, there are anti-tank mines. There should be more here. They're all the same. They do enough damage. I don't really use them because they're very expensive to reuse. They're powerful, yes, but if they hit one, the next time is gonna be okay, I'm gonna search every single mine there and bang bang bang, and you lost all of that money that you placed there. But sometimes it's gonna be useful, but the only time I see it being used is just go to the enemy spawn location and then place some of them around, scatter them around a little bit on the road where tanks spawn or respawning vehicles spawn, and that's the way you do it. So that's the only use. If you want to get more detail, I'm gonna jump to the wiki for myself. If you want to do that, they basically have 200 penetration and do around 2000 to 4000 damage per explosion, literally next to it. Some people like to place it next to the tank and then shoot it with a pistol so it explodes and does damage. You can do that. It's not as effective as just probably him driving over it, but that's a way you can use it. There is also a German one. That's the sticky one. Sticky one. This one. This one, you go next to the tank and place it on the tank and it will explode. It takes like a few seconds and then it goes kablang. This is one of the most powerful things. Back in the day, you can just place 3 on any tank and it will go kaboom. But now, because you need to focus on specific locations, I recommend you to learn every single tank weak spots so you can place it on the right spot, but usually just place it on the engine and that should do it. Maybe you can even do ammo resupply thingy and engine and ammo resupply, because there are 2 ammo resupplies if I'm not mistaken on the sides and then an engine, but you can also just put on the engine. That will be good enough. I think you can spawn with 4 or 5, I'm not sure, but yeah, these ones are very effective. But remember, buy it only on Germany, or if you don't care about credits, buy any faction you want. Just, I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be twice as more expensive. And also, twice as more expensive to refill, I believe. So, next up are anti-tank grenades. Before you go spending for anything, I will tell you again, buy your own faction anti-tank grenades. You can unlock them at silver, bronze 4, but for enemies you can go for silver 2. I recommend you, Germany ones have the most penetration and they do the most damage because they have the most penetration. The second best is basically Soviet, and the worst, I don't recommend using it, is the American one. So let me tell you how they work. So for the Soviet and Germany, you just throw them. On hit, they will explode. On this one, you will throw it, it will stick to the tank, and you can probably throw all of them at the same, as much as you want, but they're super bad. I'm not sure, for one reason, if you need Iron Fist badge or do you need the explosive badge, because if I go to badges, I don't know if it counts as, or maybe both. As you can see, Iron Fist increases damage on destroying vehicle tanks, okay, also vehicles if you have the vehicle one, here, right here. You do more damage as an infantry, only infantry, not tankers anymore. Remember that this doesn't work on tankers anymore, they updated it. So yeah, so that's basically it for that. But there's also another one that should be start free extra. No, we're not talking about this one. So increased damage from explosives. So I'm not sure about this one, because if I read the description, I think it's just for grenades. But you can tell me down in the comments, chat within the comments, because that will 100% your everything that you know about it. So I think this one works for grenades, but I'm not anti-tank grenades, but and grenades of course, but I'm not sure, so don't count on it. I know this is for RPGs and this is probably for grenades, but I'm not sure. I don't know how good it is for American, but now let me tell you for anti-tank grenades stats. I need to find now the banner so I can show you the pictures as well. So anti-tanker, sorry, hiccup. So anti-tank grenades, as you know, the German one, perfect, does, let me alt-tab, does, the German does 800 to 1100 damage and has 85 to 126 armor penetration. The best one that you can have. The Soviet one has the same damage for 800 to 1100, the same damage, but it has less penetration, has only 70 to 110 penetration. Not that big of a difference, but if you want to be maximizing, but still, I still recommend using Soviets on Soviet anti-tankers. Don't use the German ones and German on German ones, because yes, you can buy it if you want to do more damage, but you're gonna pay way more for the reuse, restock and stuff like that. And American ones, very bad, don't use it at all. Just buy the German ones if you're on US, or just don't use it at all. Or maybe if literally Iron Fist and the other one that increases the damage of explosives, maybe that makes it decent enough, but it does 700 to 900 damage. That's like 100 less to 200 less damage, and has the least amount of penetration. Before it was 85, 126, or 70 to 110. Now it's 45 to 60. Really bad. Unusable, probably don't use it at all. Next up, RPGs. As you know, you can find on the map the normal RPG that is pretty decent. Has least, has pretty good penetration if you know where to shoot. Again, I recommend you to look up everything where to shoot at. So, the first RPG that you find on the map is 650 damage to 950 damage. Penetration 70 to 100 penetration. Really good, but really hard to get most of the time because they're scattered around the map and you can only get 2 at a time, unless if you have it on a vehicle, you can get another 1. Or you can just wait for it to respawn and stuff like that to use it. Very effective, and if you're anti-tanking, probably very useful to have 1 extra. I'm gonna tell you that later. You will see how people use it as maximum as possible. So, next up, the most used RPG is the American RPG. If I go to the first thing you're gonna look for American RPGs, I think only American and German. No, maybe all three factions use this American RPG. So if you go to assault ribbon, sorry, infantry assault, you're gonna look it here most of the time. So let's see, where is it? That's grenades. Oh no, Germany has their own, but there's also an American one. I'm gonna show you later. So for Germany, they have their own. Soviet and Americans use the same RPGs, starting RPGs. For this one, it's a little bit different. It's pretty good, but really not that good. I think it was buffed maybe a year ago or so. Once before it was really bad, but now it's pretty decent. So for the first RPG for Germany, it's not really that usable. And it does 700 to 1000, no, yeah, to 1000 damage, has 700 to 95 penetration. That's pretty good, but there's better RPGs. So for the Americans or Soviets, first RPG is the American RPG. It's not gonna show in this infantry assault, it's gonna show in their infantry assault, but for Germany, it will show here. It should be around here somewhere. Let me just search a little bit. Maybe it's this one. Don't buy it if you're maybe buy it. I don't know. I don't recommend it, but do what you want. This bazooka right here, Americans and Soviets use them because Soviets don't have the starting RPG from their faction. So this RPG does 800 to 1,100 damage and has 70 to 95 penetration. So penetration is the same, the damage is a little bit higher, just a little bit, by 100 higher. So do as you wish. The only big difference is the German one reloads slower, but that doesn't matter. You can put probably quick reload if you use an SMG on it. Most of the time it's gonna be pretty decent for every RPG. But it just has one downside, that slow reload, a little less damage, but it has the same penetration, and it's pretty decent. A little hard to aim because of the scope, but you can probably get used to it. But yeah, I probably don't recommend farming to get the American and then just get the last German one. So, last RPGs. No, actually, Americans have 3 RPGs, while other faction only have 2 RPGs. My fingers are not working. So, for Americans, there is a bazooka. I probably don't recommend to buy it in Germany. It's this one. This is the secondary bazooka you can buy. It's pretty decent, most used probably. Has higher damage than their last one. That should be, no, it's actually here the last one. Probably not that usable. Probably usable. It's really hard to get, as you can see. It's a last tier type of thing here. Probably for every faction. No, actually no. I think on Americans, I think it's the German one, the last one that you get here. And Soviets, it should be this one. I'm not sure. So the second one is this RPG, and also actually no, yeah, actually second RPG is also in Soviets, but that one is the last, so I'm just gonna skip that for now. For this RPG is really good. It has one weakness, and that's the shots are very slow to get from really far distances, and also it has a big anchor that's gonna go, it doesn't go straight, and I'm gonna tell you more about it a little bit later. So this RPG does 500 more damage. It does like the same as the last German RPG, and that is to 850 to 1200. Has more penetration actually than the German one, surprisingly. Does around 95 to 115 penetration, and that's pretty good. So it's really good RPG, long range, really nice. A little slow on getting the targets, and yeah. So now let's go for the last RPGs, and that is the last German RPG, that you can find it here, and then the Soviet one that you find them here. Again, I recommend you don't buy other factions unless if you just want to maximize the damage as fast as possible. Then I probably recommend the Soviet one. But let's go. I don't really like this RPG. I have it equipped, as you can see. I own it because back in the day this is the first RPG unlocked. Yes, That's what it was once back then. And so I have it on this character already without actually having it unlocked here. But what can you do when they change stuff? So I don't really like this RPG because it covers really a lot with this plate, but you probably will get used to it, and it's pretty decent RPG. So it does more damage than the bazooka from Americans, the first one. It does more penetration. It has a little bit more damage. So the damage is 850 to 1200, and that has 70 penetration to 110. That's like 500 to 100 extra damage, and penetration has 15 more penetration than the first American RPG. I don't really like this RPG. Use it if you want. But now let's go for the epic, my favorite and probably the best RPG you can get. It's probably the Soviet one. That's this one. I believe this is the best one because it has the highest damage, but it doesn't have that much penetration. Actually has a lot of penetration. Did they change it? I thought it has really little penetration. It has a lot. What did they do to this RPG? Now it's literally the best. So sell it, the best RPG you can ever get. So let me start. This RPG has 1000 to 1500 damage, 80 to 120 penetration, the most out of any RPG in the game. Like sheesh, like literally sheesh. It's really good. The only problem is it's really slow to reload. You just put quick reload or just play really passively. So people that like to use this RPG have a strat. I'm gonna go around it, so probably can use it with any RPG because reload is always slow and not that efficient. But if you want to maximize damage, I saw a video and I can explain it how they do it. So I believe this is the best RPG in the game. So yeah, now the last RPG that's for Americans, and it's also the last one here, is this RPG. I don't really like this one, but it has some upsides and some downsides. The downside is, again, it's slow reload. I don't know if it's slower than the Soviet one, but I think it's a little bit faster. You can get more information if you go on their wiki. Or here's just wiki for weapons. So the damage is quite less. It's even less than the first Germany weapon, and that's 650 to 850. Very little. The first American RPG is 800 to 1100. So I don't have that much damage. Penetration also really lacking, really lacking. Actually it almost it has the least penetration ever, surprisingly. It must really weak. It has to 58 to 76. What weird numbers, but that's the penetration. But the only good thing is of this one and the second American RPG, that's the big long one somewhere here. This one shoots straight and it hits targets very fast, so you can do really nice long shots with this one. Well, the second American RPG shoots like this, and this one shoots straight long distances, so it's pretty good. Has a little less range, I think, than this one, and slower reload. So I was like, when I was farming for this RPG, I was like, who'd ever want to buy this? It's just downgrade. Oh my god, almost died. My throat went just dry. So you can get it if you want it. I'm gonna get this one for a different character and this one for a different soldier, so I can have both. So if I want, I can change it to whatever I want. But I don't recommend this RPG. You can buy it if you want. It's not that great, but it's pretty decent. Reload a lot slower than this one, and also just faster shooting, faster RPG shot than this one. But yeah, so That's all the RPGs. There's 3 different weapons you can use as anti-tank weapons, but just only one, and I mean only one, is pretty good, but it's not that usable, and it's basically a double-edged sword. The other 2 are really not that great, but you can still bully tanks if you want. But mostly people use it to anti-plane them, and that's the anti-tank rifles. There should be 3 of them, and that's the Soviet one, the German one, sorry, and then there should be a Soviet one somewhere. Oh yeah, because you cannot unlock it for any other faction, then unless if you steal it. You can steal it if you want. So let's talk about the German one. That's this one, and it's this one is the weakest anti-air rifle, anti-tank rifle. It's not supposed to kill tanks, but you can penetrate armor with this, and also snipe planes out of the sky. Really fun weapons, but it becomes very, very bad if you're just not using it correctly. So mostly people use this type of weapon to kill vehicles, so they can get more credits, or bully tanks just because they can. So the damage is 350 to 412.5 damage, penetration 35 to 45. The least amount of penetration. What can I say? The German one is literally the weakest one. There is also PTRD. This one is the Soviet one, so I'm gonna have to go to Soviet this time. Soviet faction. I have both of the Soviet. Soviet has 2 of them for some goddamn reason, and Americans don't have it. They really should have one at least, but I guess it didn't exist in US. But okay, so if I go here, you can see PTRD right here. You unlock it in the, I don't know which one it is. Is it anti-tanker? Probably, yeah, it's anti-tanker, I assume. Let me just look a little bit. Right here, PTRD. Very expensive weapon, probably the strongest bolt action rifle if you look at it as a single shot, because it basically shoots 1 bullet per shot. It's bang, long reload, put the bullet, close, and then bang again. It's really slow, hard to aim, especially farther distances, because it has a delay when you shoot them. So, but it has more damage than the German one. So PTRD does 375 to 437.5 damage and has 30 to 50 penetration. For the German one, it has a little bit more penetration, it seems, unless for the last part. Has 5 more at the beginning and 5 less at the end of the damage penetration, but the damage is less. The German one is 35 to 412, while the PTRD is 375 to 437.5. So it's pretty good. And this one is probably the strongest one you can get. You can try to steal it for your class in Germany. I don't recommend it still, but you can. The roll speed, I'm not sure which one is faster. I think the German one is actually faster. But there is even stronger one, and actually the most expensive anti-tank weapon, if you want to consider it as an anti-tank weapon, and that's the PTRS. So this one is on the Soviet. I think it's somewhere here. It's this one. It's 650 for Soviets, and for any other faction, double this price. So it gets to 1 million and somewhat a lot of credits. You can try to steal it. It's also very hard to steal it because you need to get with this specific weapon to this type of tier, 11th tier, if you want to steal it. And it gets even more expensive, so it's probably better if you just somehow help with a friend, even though that's not really that easy. So this one that's different than all the other armor penetrating rifles, tank penetrating rifles, is it has multiple rounds, so you can shoot bang 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 bang, while with the other two it's bang bang a little bit slower. But this one is bang 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 bang, I don't know how many rounds, 3 to 4, and then you need to reload the whole clip and you can shoot again. It's better for shooting down planes because then you shoot once, you see where the line went when you shot the shot, and then you shoot again and fixing your aim, because you can you don't have to reload per shot. So that's why this is really good. It has, I think, the least damage. Let me double check. This one has that. Yeah, it has the least damage, but it shoots multiple rounds and has least penetration. The damage is 337.5 to 393.75. Penetration is 27 to 45. It has less at the beginning and the same at the end as the German one, but it's really good. I think you can use 2 clips if you shoot directly, if you're on top of the German tank and you shoot directly to the engine, both clips. And if you have probably Iron Fist Max Golden, I think you can probably kill it with 2 clips directly to the engine. You just jump on the tank like the gunner part and then look at the engine. It's also a long gun, so you need to be further away. You cannot be point blank range, so you need to jump literally on top and shoot at the engine, and you can kill any tank you want. But it's usually people use it to kill light tanks and sometimes medium tanks if they feel lucky, but it's really hard with this type of weapon. It's not recommended, but yeah, RPGs are probably better to anti-tank. So, but for the planes, pretty decent to shoot down because you can easily shot them down. It's not one shot, but at least you can destroy like a wing or something and then will crash eventually or lose a fight against your pilot or someone. So that's all of the anti-tank weapons. Just letting you know, there's also grenades and also human type grenades. I can go over those ones as well just because I can, but these ones are on explosives. Again, use your own faction one, unless if you're probably Soviet, then I recommend not. So there is the normal grenades, right? All the factions have their own grenade type. I don't know about the damage and stuff, I'm not going to tell you. There's also bigger grenades that do. You can use this on the tank. It will probably destroy their track, but it will not kill the tank at all. Maybe it will lower it very little, and tracks may be damaged a lot. So don't use grenades against tanks. It's just not gonna work, and you're just wasting credits. For human anti-mines, they're all different. Just don't use the Soviet one. It's really bad. It doesn't kill. You can place 2 of them, and that's the max you can have, I think. Maybe you can have 3 if you have more slots, but I use them on my sniper. You can have gold extra damage with anti-tank grenades, anti-mines, if that's this one, and it will not kill an infantry, not 2 of them together. But the German one and the American one will do more damage, a lot more. The Soviet one does 280, while the other one does 250, and also the radius is bigger, 2.5, and the Soviet one is 1.5. I feel very bad, but the Soviet one, the Soviet ones are smaller, but it's basically unusable. So for grenades, as you know, they're the normal ones. I think there are 3 types. Yep. The last one can do a little bit more damage to the tanks, but not recommended. Don't do it. And the normal 2 grenades, they just do a little bit more damage, I guess. Yeah, they do a little bit more damage, but they have a little less range and stuff like that. So that's all of it that you need to know. Just use this 2 if you want to go and one-shotting people, but planting for infantry, and don't use this one at all because it's bad. So hopefully that was everything. Okay, so now the trick to anti-tank real fast is probably to use the Soviet anti-tank gun and probably the German one's grenades, but you don't have to. If you're Soviet, just use the Soviet one, but if you're American, just use German ones. It's gonna be way better. So the first one, you just use the first RPG that you find on a vehicle or on the ground in any map. There's RPGs. Grab that one and then go to the tank, shoot it with that, grab your anti-tank grenade, throw it at the engine, switch to your RPG, let's say this one, because this one is literally the best one we just learned together, and shoot them in the engine, switch back to an anti-tank grenade and throw it and that should probably kill it every single time if you don't hit the frontal armor or the thickest armor on the tank. That usually kills it. But sometimes if it doesn't, use all of your anti-tank grenades. It's usually the fastest to use fast if you need to kill it fast. But if you're just poking in from afar, just use the RPG like this one or any other RPG that you're using. Shoot it and reload, hide. If you're doing like circles run, remember when you're reloading, you cannot run. So have a anti-tank grenade or a pistol. Pistol is really good, and always have a pistol as your main weapon, because then you will drop your pistol instead of RPGs. Except for PTRD, PTRS, and the German one anti-rifles, you cannot really drop pistols before that gun, so just letting you know. So that's why the PTRS is a double-edged sword, because basically if you die with that weapon, you will 100% drop that one first, no matter what, and then an enemy will just pick it up and use it and anti-tank your tanks or planes or people or vehicles, and it's a pain in the ass. So that's why I don't like using PTRS. That's why I prefer PTRD, because at least it has some downsides to slow reload per shot, and also it's not that precise. So again, that's the trick to anti-tank, but remember that that's not probably 100% correct. If it is, then good for you, and that's the updated version of anti-tanking. So remember, again, get Iron Fist maxed if you're trying to anti-tank. To do that, you just need to drive people around. You need to just drive people around to unlock this. I think it's the last tier as well. Why do I have golden Iron Fist? Oh yeah, probably because it is my main character. Sorry. Get the golden Iron Fist as fast as possible, because it will save you credits, and because basically this increases the damage. And if you want to use anti-tank grenades, probably get a veteran membership and put the extra damage of grenades, but you'll have to use normal grenades to get the 2 gold. Just put a booster on both of them and just go grenade people here, and this one go and drive people around. It's gonna be worth it a lot, because I think you can kill with one like the German last medium tank that's really popular. I think you can shoot it with one RPG shot of the Soviet RPG. If you shoot directly to the ammo resupply and have gold, and I think you can one-shot him there, or is a 2-shot. And you can, I think, 3-shot the last German tank that's the most armored if you shoot the right places. So that's all I have to add. Have fun getting credits and maxing this badge, and yeah, that's it. If you want to know how to unlock RPGs faster, probably the best way is if you go to battle, right? If you want to anti-tank to unlock the RPGs, I probably recommend capture and hold, because they can have tanks. They can have, sometimes they don't. You can just leave, and if you remember the name, you just go here, capture and hold ground classes. You can just untick the one that you didn't play. Let's say this was a previous match and they didn't have tanks. Untick it so you don't go to the same match again. So that's my trick to get RPGs fast. Because yeah, you use most of the time it's just light tanks and medium tanks, but sometimes also heavy tanks. I don't recommend to go for heavy tanks. You get a lot of XP if you kill it, but if you don't, you're just wasting a lot of credits. But if you don't care about the credit that much, don't worry, you don't have to repair it every single time. Just saying, heavy tanks are harder to kill, gives you a lot more XP, but it's not enough XP to give you enough credits to repay that killing tank blow. So that's literally everything I can think of. If you have any question, please just ask in the comments, chat with each other in the comments. If you want to contact me to get more information, you can just join my Discord. It's in the description. And yeah, if you want to join me in games, just add me and invite me whenever I'm online, or if you just really want to play, just message me in Discord and I'm going to reply to you if I can. So yeah, thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!